Hello, I'm Lou Walker. As a registered health coach, I help people transform their health with real food and realistic lifestyle changes so they can live life to the full. The approach we use depends on the client's preferences and their goals, but whatever we decide to work on, cutting back on sugar is often part of the plan. To start, it helps to know where the sugar in our diet is coming from. What I'm going to share with you in this video today often surprises, even shocks clients, but once they know, it's much easier to make the changes. Sugar's a problem for our health for many reasons, some of which I talk about in this video. Our body works really hard to keep our blood glucose within a certain safe range, which for a healthy adult equates to about 1 teaspoon of sugar in our blood at any one time, so not much. In fact, having high blood sugar for too long can lead to problems like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease and some cancers. And it's useful to know that for weight loss, having blood sugar that's too high stops you burning fat and instead makes it easier for you to store it. So let's start with table sugar. White, brown, muscovado, demerara, it's all the same stuff and none of it is useful in any way. We know that sugar is in sweet foods like chocolate and cakes and jam and soft drinks, but it also creeps into 70% of processed foods, even the savoury ones. All of these foods contain added sugar. So if you cut down on processed foods, you're already reducing your sugar intake. But there's another major source of sugar in our diet, and that's starch. Starch is the main component of pasta, rice, potatoes, breakfast cereals and flour. Starch is chains of glucose molecules joined together which digest down into glucose, which is a sugar, when we eat it. So when you eat starchy foods, you're effectively eating sugar. Now this might not matter if you're metabolically healthy, but if you're trying to control your blood glucose, it's something you need to know. The best way I've come across of explaining this is a set of brilliant infographics developed by a GP and diabetes expert called Dr David Unwin. They explain how different foods affect our blood sugar using teaspoons of sugar as a measure. So in this one, you can see that 150 grams of cooked basmati rice has a similar effect on blood glucose as eating 10 spoons of sugar. A portion of spaghetti equates to 6.5 teaspoons. And this is what these portions of basmati and spaghetti look like. They're not big portions, are they? Meanwhile, a serving of broccoli or an egg causes hardly a ripple. Broccoli and other leafy green vegetables contain carbohydrate in the form of fibre, but not sugars and starches, so they have minimal effect on blood glucose. Eggs contain minimal carbohydrate in the first place. Does it make a difference if it's brown pasta or rice? Well, here you can see that it doesn't. And I should say that 60 grams of bread, as shown here, is only 1¼ slices of a standard medium-sized loaf. So in a 2-slice wholemeal sandwich, you'd be getting 9 teaspoon equivalents. Breakfast cereals. Everyone is always shocked at plain old cornflakes, and look at bran flakes and Special K, which are marketed as healthy. Again, the portion size is important. 30 grams is what cereal manufacturers call a portion, but most people, especially hungry teenagers, would easily have double, if not 3 times this. So what does this mean for a typical breakfast? Remember that this is a small portion of bran flakes and a tiny piece of bread with no jam or marmalade. And fruit and veg. These are real foods, but if you're wanting to lose weight or control your blood glucose, not all fruit and veg are your friends. I've put a link to all of Dr. Unwin's sugar infographics in the notes below. So what's left if you're not eating starchy or processed foods? A real cornucopia of real food, as well as fresh vegetables. Fresh meat, fish, eggs and dairy are rammed full of nutrients, including vitamins A, D and E, which are only found in fatty foods. These foods tend not to upset blood sugar levels, and because they contain protein and fat, they're filling, so you're less hungry between meals. If you're trying to avoid sugar, there's nothing in fruit that you can't get by eating a good range of vegetables. Dr Unwin says, turn the white stuff green, and this is fantastic advice. So how do we put it into practice? Well, if you're having bolognese, could you have shredded cabbage or green beans instead of the pasta? If you're having a roast, instead of mashed potato, cauliflower mash is delicious. Or you could just replace the potato with an extra vegetable. For breakfast, what about bacon and eggs, or a mushroom omelette, or full-fat Greek yogurt with fruit and berries? I could keep going all day with suggestions for real food swaps and recipes that are healthy and filling and nutritious, because what we eat affects every aspect of our health. If you'd like to know more, please check out my other YouTube videos, subscribe to the channel and visit my website. And I've also put some useful resources below this video. Now, I'm a health coach and I'm qualified in nutrition, but I'm not a doctor, so it always makes sense to check with your GP before making any health changes. But I'm sure they'll be delighted to support you in a health journey that begins with cutting down on sugar.